Om Vama Kali Kalima Kalima Shaktima Vama Kali Vama Kali.
The soul, the mind, the body, the positive, the negative, the ground, the proton, the neutron, the electron, the yin, the yang, the young, the sun, the moon, the star, the man, the woman, the child,
Om
the plaintiff, the defendant, the judgment, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, the past, the present, the future, the soul,
Om Ma Jema
the body, the positive,
Om Ma Jema
the proton,
Vama
the
Kali.
neutron, the electron, the yin, the yang, the young, the sun, the moon, the star, the man.
Om. So today's video is about the light and the dark, the yin and the yang, the plaintiff and the defendant, the good and the bad, the dark and the light, the yin and the yang. The devas and the asuras. What are the teachings of Taoism with the yin-yang symbol? What are they pointing to? What is the message there? You have a circle, the totality, immortality, the snake that eats its own tail. It's also a Zen symbol. And within that, you have the light and the dark. And within the dark, there's a circle of light. And within the light, there's a circle of dark. What is this symbol telling us? Is it telling us that if we balance our yin and yang, we will become immortal? There are stories, legends, myths of Taoist immortals. I believe it's the 8 immortals. In Hindu stories, mythology, tales, legends, there's a story of the churning of the ocean of milk. So on one side are the gods, the devas, and on the other side are the asuras, the anti-gods. And they have to churn the ocean of milk, which is like churning butter. And Vasuki, the Naga king, snake, he volunteers his body as the leverage or the mechanism of which to churn. So the gods grab one side of Vasuki's body and the anti-gods grab the other side, and they churn the ocean of milk. And out pops many beautiful things, but one of them is Lakshmi, which is spiritual abundance. And she's holding the Amrita, the nectar of immortality. So what is this telling us? Is this telling us that if we balance our devas and asuras, our gods and anti-gods, our yin and our yang, we will have a wealth of spiritual blessings, and we will drink from the nectar of immortality. So it's the same thing as the Yin-Yang Zen symbol, but in Hinduism. Accident? Coincidence? Probably not. There's probably a message there for us. These myths, these stories, these symbols passed down from generation to generation over time, so we wouldn't forget. They're encoded in our collective consciousness. So what does that mean to balance our yin and our yang? It means to be in harmony. It means to be in some kind of equilibria or equanimous, an equanimous state. Now, many people who've lived a long life in amazing health and consciousness often point to this equilibria, equanimousness as the key to their longevity and to their joy. So looking at it from the Taoist perspective, we can say when yin and yang are balanced and in harmony, then the snake that eats its own tail, immortality, is possible. So we really have to dive deep into what that means. It's pretty incredible. That means as long as we're in disharmony and dis-ease and imbalance, we're heading towards death. And when we're in harmony and equanimous and in equilibria, and yin and yang are balanced, we are headed towards immortality. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear what the messages were. Now, is this just for some few old Chinese men living on a mountain eating goji tea? If that. Chrysanthemum flowers. Practicing, Qigong all day. Or is it applicable to all of us just by virtue of our human birth? So if it's possible for all of us, whether we're Chinese or not, whether we know Qigong or not, then how? How do we do that? So why are they practicing Qigong? Because they feel that practice and other martial arts practices help embody and balance these yin and yang. To become aware of yin and yang and to balance it into harmony. The same way we balance the forces in Hinduism with the churning of the ocean of milk. And you see the darkness, the asuras, the anti-gods, they're a part of the totality. It's not just a yin symbol, it's a yin-yang symbol. So the light and the dark are both present. The anti-gods, the asuras, sometimes called demons, are also part of the divine order. In Balinese Hindu temples, the statues, carvings of the demons, the anti-gods, are often standing guard outside family temples and community temples. It's not that there are no demons anywhere near the temple, no. They're a big part of the temple. They're the guardians of the temple. Same way you see the dragon sometimes as the guardian of the temple. Dragons are supposed to be dark and scary or whatever, but they're enlisted by the divine order to protect the temple. The same way the asuras, the demons, are protecting the temple. So these Asian cultures, civilizations, were not interested in banning the darkness or banning the demons or all that. They were accepting that these denser forces were part of the implicate order, the divine order. And everyone had their role to fulfill. If the asuras, the anti-gods, don't exist, then how will the ocean of milk be churned? They need the gods and the anti-gods need one another to churn the ocean of the milk. So sometimes in current beliefs, where not even current beliefs also is present in India with the whole Vedic Brahmin culture. There's an obsession or a misguided focus on purity, on light. If a crumb of your khichdi falls to the floor, the whole dish has to be thrown out because it's impure. I don't know if that's true, but something like that. Really strict purity laws for Brahmins, for the priestly class, Vedic priestly class. And the Tantrics, they kind of saw through that and saw how it created disharmony and disease and judgment and pain and duality. So they took the opposite road and said everything is pure, only your mind is impure. So that's why you have the yogi on the trash heap or the agori eating very impure substances, the most impure you can imagine, because they're saying it's all one. There's no duality, there's no darkness, only your minds and your judgments are dark. In the current yogic world, there's also this idea of purity. We use phrases like serving the light or light worker. That's a good one. Or serving it up to the light. And of course, the vegan or woke or raw foodist or fruitarian, a lot of these movements, they have a subtle or not so subtle energy of pure impure. Like if you're a meat eater, you're impure. Unfriend me now if you're a meat eater. But actually, it's the impurity of the mind who judges the meat eater. That's the darkness, not the meat eater. That's the crazy paradox. So in Chinese medicine, there's none of this impure, pure food thing going on. Food could be a poison or it can be an elixir. It depends on its usage, its combination, the season, the condition of the body and the psyche. So some people need meat, some people don't. Some people don't eat it for a while, then they need it. Some people need this kind of meat, some people need that kind of meat, some people need fish, some people don't eat anything, called bigu. They just survive on like prana and some herbs maybe. One goji berry a day. Just to stay grounded. See, the human mind, the intellectual mind, seeks to categorize, judge, and divide and separate consistently. That's the way it operates for most of us anyway. So this pure, impure thing or light, dark thing plays right into that and plays right into the ego, because the ego loves separation and judgment. So if you can say, I'm a light worker, well, it's pretty ego enhancing, potentially anyway. And then there are people who are in opposition to that. They're like shadow workers. But I haven't met any dark workers yet. But you see, it's kind of silly, like, to make this categorization of light worker versus, you know. And you could see how the ego could really identify with this light worker identity. Wear white all the time and use spiritual words and eat only the most sattvic food. And then you might be like highly ungrounded and unable to follow a train of thought or sentence. And your nails and your skin and your hair and your teeth might be suffering because you'll only eat things which are the most sattvic or pure, but sometimes we need the density that supports our own density, the bones and the teeth, the ligaments and the tendons. So can we accept that the world is filled with different frequencies of light? White light, pitch black darkness, and everything in between. We can say that everything is light, yes, capital L. But within that, there's the multiplicity. There's both the oneness and the multiplicity. So we can say the oneness is the light, but everything is light, because everything is one. So the dark is the light too, if you want to look at it that way, or the light is the dark. Look at Kali Ma. Black is space. I don't think she's impure. So we have to look deep within ourselves about the conditioning around this light and dark density. You know, it's like it can come up many, many ways. They're constantly pushing for more purification. I had that. I still have that. So, you know, on the one hand, you're pure already. Everything is one and everything is pure. On the other hand, you're embodied and you're in a dualistic reality, or default reality, and within that, there's purification that can happen. So part of that purification, I found, is accepting the dark, accepting the shadows, the grayness, the ambiguity. How does that manifest itself? Well, I need bones, right? I need teeth. I can accept that. So that's something easy we can all accept. You know, without, have you seen those people, like overly sattvic people? They're so brittle. Now, you know, the nervous systems are brittle, the bones are brittle. If you say boo, they could just collapse or scream. So we need the density in the body. Without structure in the body, we're not living, we're not human. The bones are equally important to everything else in the body. They're part of the totality, the structure. So within also our own psyches and our own emotions and our own karma, memories, there might be things we could categorize as dark or dense. And we're probably afraid to go to those places and to shine our awareness and our attention there. And our attention and our awareness is the most powerful force in the universe. We'd rather shy away from that because of the perceived pain or shame or guilt around some perceived darkness. But when we shine the light of awareness, then that density can start to move. First, we have to accept it, acknowledge it, see it, not avoid it, pretend it's not there, just say I'm a light worker. No. Shining the light of awareness, your attention, your conscious attention on, you can say, dense aspects of your psyche and emotions and body can help free them up and bring more lightness. Yes. So eventually, we go through a lot of this with every aspect of our being. And we can totally accept the light and the dark, within and without. The demons are standing guard at the temple, and there's some demons here that might be standing guard too. It's okay. It's okay. The Tao is so beautiful because it just accepts things as they are, as is, to be in harmony with the light and the dark. So you can imagine if you're in harmony inside, in your psyche and your emotions, you're in a equanimous state, not a fake equanimous state, an inauthentic state brought on by reading too many spiritual books, but a real equanimous state brought on by usually years of spiritual practice, sadhana, and grace. So once that harmony flows, or you're aligned with that harmony, or that harmony is, then regeneration starts to happen within the body. So we can say that healers, the best of them anyway, strive for harmonizing your body. So, too much raja, we had some sattva, too much tama, we had some raja, too much yang, we had some yin. So we're using this in terms of substances, food and herbs, medicines to create harmony in the body. And when harmony happens in the body, that's when you get things like spontaneous remission, right? What's spontaneous remission? It means that the body is healing itself. How and why is the body healing itself? Is it because of the super Tibetan pill you took? Maybe if it helps create harmony within your body, but it's usually just that harmony that created it. The pill is only helping you get to that harmony. So we're in this super harmonious, equanimous state. That's when we're going towards immortality, regeneration, rejuvenation, calmness, radiating, being able to download, heaven and earth connected. And when we're in disharmony, disequilibria, then we're edging towards death. It's pretty simple. So we can take it upon ourselves not to judge the quote-unquote light and dark, to accept things as they are, to shine the light of awareness, to investigate all the little dark, dense patches. And you'll see that it's a powerful, powerful, powerful embodied spiritual practice. And the best is when you have a supernatural force that aids you in this practice or investigation or embodiment. The Shakti, the Kundalini, the Holy Spirit, constantly pointing you in the direction of harmony. So what I found was, in my journey, that I strive for health and for my brain functioning. You know, like a lot of people like in Silicon Valley now, they're biohacking and using substances and binaural beats and all these other things to enhance productivity and enhance cognition and brain power, memory, and even bring on altered states with like supernatural powers. And you know, some of that stuff works, some of it doesn't. Again, it's about your intention and your attention. Mostly anyway. But the supernatural force, the Shakti, has guided me in all my decisions for the last 6-7 years. What I eat, who I spend time with, how I spend my time. Every decision. And if I make a decision that's unhealthy or tends towards disequilibria, the Shakti itself, the supernatural force, the goddess, lets me know pretty quickly that this is not a healthy choice in any respect. So the Shakti itself, not my mind, because my mind would like to do many other things sometimes. And sometimes the Shakti would lead me to things that my mind would just reject completely. Like, I stopped drinking for many years. Wasn't interested. I felt the Shakti was also stopping me from drinking. Even like a casual sip of wine here and there. Nope, no interest. And then one day I was on my scooter. I'm here in Bali, so we'd go everywhere with scooters. And I was spontaneously singing Panchamakara, which is a tantric ceremony of which wine and meat are a part of, to break exactly what we're talking about, to break the idea of pure and impure. So they encourage the Brahmin, overly concerned about purity, to go through this ritual to break those barriers about pure and impure. So they take the most impure substances, making love with the washerwoman, the low-caste woman, eating meat, drinking alcohol, you know? So I was singing on my scooter, Panchamakara. I was like, whoa, what's this? And within a week I was this fruitarian was eating meat and drinking wine. And the body was liking it. It was a shock. So you see the supernatural force, the Shakti, seeks to create this equanimity, this equilibria, this harmony, this yin-yang balance within you all the time. And it's guiding you all the time to that. All the time. In your dreams, how you sleep, when you sleep. All the time. The messages are coming in all the time. And as long as you're open and receptive, surrendered, and following those messages, you're constantly being led to a greater state of, of balance, of harmony. And in it, all your conditioning gets wrecked. Just all gets knocked down. What's good, what's bad. Labels. I won't touch that. Nope. You can't say anything like that. You just don't know. I was kind of like intuitively guided to sake for, I don't know, weeks, maybe even 2 months. I think about it often. Now, I haven't had sake in years. And even when I did have sake, I wasn't a huge fan. You know, whatever, an alcohol. It wasn't like I was one of those sake aficionados. I just was like, yeah, whatever, it's nice. But for 2 months or so, the idea of sake was coming into my awareness. And finally, last night, the situation arose and I went to go get some sake. It was beautiful. I really felt like, wow, this substance, magic. That's why it's the highest offering at the Shinto temples. You know, this is the elixir of the gods in Japan, the sake. And the effect on my brain, on my consciousness, wow, was really unique. I'd never felt that before with any alcohol, and certainly never with sake before. So it wasn't that the sake I was drinking was that good, I'm sure. They only had a couple on the menu. And it was more like the consciousness that was directing me to the sake and the consciousness that was drinking the sake were completely different than before when I was pretty unconscious. And now, like we can say, the communing with the sake and the benefits of the sake, the divine aspects of the sake, there must be a reason why it's in all these temples, right? It's not just some mistake. So you see, the overly fixated on purity without drinking alcohol, I would have rejected, and probably was rejecting for a while, this intuitive movement towards sake. And when I finally said yes to it, the results were amazing, and I felt so much harmony, including now, today, the day after. And I really can see that it was the sake that did that. Om. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya.